A winter storm is on the way, and it could have a big impact. I've got the newest models for when it arrives and a closer look at what types of wintry weather you may see.
As winter weather rolls closer, maintenance crews are rolling out. When you'll start to see brine on the roads and how towns around Wake County are preparing.
And the monks get closer. As the historic Walk for Peace approaches the Triangle, people are traveling from across the country to get a peek at the Buddhist monks. A look at the mounting excitement and huge crowds from a day on the trail. Well, we got a little taste of winter weather this past weekend, but this upcoming one, we might be in store for the whole meal. It's whole enchilada time here at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Haggerty.
Now I'm hungry. I'm Ashley Rowe. We are expecting some rough travel conditions. The chance for power outages, that's a real one, and impacts that stretch beyond when the system leaves our area. But a lot is still left to iron out. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Kat, let's talk about what we know right now.
People need to start preparing for a winter storm this weekend. The odds of a high-impact winter storm continue to increase. The big question mark at this point is what type of winter storm. Will it be a snowstorm, an ice storm, a mix of both? That is still in question. Either way, roads are likely to be dangerous to travel on as we head into the weekend. This is our first call for the WRAL map of precipitation types. We've got to work out the specifics on this map before we can start talking about totals. It's likely to be an all snow event in our northern counties, areas north of Raleigh, especially more of a snow ice mix between Raleigh and Fayetteville, and an icy mix primarily south of Fayetteville. Regardless, significant accumulations of snow and or ice are possible. We're working with a lot of moisture from this system. It's still about 3,000 miles away from us. Once it gets over land over the next 48 hours, we're going to start to get into better data, and the models are going to get a better grip on this system. But this is a textbook setup for a decent winter storm in North Carolina. High pressure is strong, it's well placed, and the cold air is locked in before the moisture. Now let's talk about the moisture. There's a lot of moisture to work with from this storm. Higher levels of moisture are being fed in by the orientation of the jet stream, and it's coming from the Gulf. You got a lot of moisture down in the Gulf. As this system continues to move east, the exact track is going to determine the rain, snow, sleet line, and for us in our area, it's mainly looking like snow and ice. We'll have more on that potential and timing of the system coming up.
All right, Kat, thank you. Now is the time to start getting ready for the storm. We know preparations are underway from cities to towns to NCDOT. WRL's Eric Miller joining us live now, giving us a picture of how everyone is getting ready, Eric.
Well, Dan, this storm is definitely already top of mind for folks all across the Carolinas. That includes many of the towns and cities right here in Wake County. A lot of those folks have already been out their maintenance departments taking a look at snow plows, other pieces of equipment, making sure they're in working order. Some towns, like Wake Forest, have even already started brining their roads. Now, the folks here at NCDOT, they're going to be joining them out there starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow. That's when they'll be out laying down brine. We're talking about 80,000 gallons that NCDOT is planning to lay down on the roads in this area using at least 49 trucks. As the storm gets closer, NCDOT will also be refining the kind of trucks and kind of equipment they're using depending on the mix of rain, snow, and freezing rain we get.
We'll be making those assessments as Mother Nature hands us what she's going to hand us, and then we will handle it appropriately.
And of course, it's not just brine. NCDOT also has a lot of sand and rock salt on hand as well. That's something they'll be looking to lay down after that first round of the storm gets here. Once you've got some snow or got some ice down on the road, as it helps not only melt what's there, but provide some more traction for drivers as we deal with a wintry mess this weekend. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
All right, thank you to Eric and all the crews getting us ready. You can count on WRAL to track this winter storm for you, of course, until the impacts move out. We have the largest, most experienced team of meteorologists forecasting this system for you. Our entire team is dedicated to keeping you and your family safe. Look for updates as the forecast changes on TV, online, and on our social media pages. And make sure to have the WRAL News app, and you can get breaking news and weather there when you have the alerts turned on.
Let's get to our quote of the day. It's a big one. In a court filing, Austin Thompson's legal team wrote, Austin understands he can never change what happened, but he hopes that pleading as charged and moving into a sentencing hearing only will allow for the victims, the community, and his family to be spared a trial. That's part of a filing we got a copy of this morning, where we learned the young man accused of shooting up a Raleigh neighborhood and killing 5 people planned to plead guilty.
In it, his legal team also said he wanted to avoid adding any extra trauma to the community. Thompson was just 15 years old when he was arrested. His 16-year-old brother and an off-duty Raleigh police officer among the 5 people he's accused of killing.
It appears this case that has dominated headlines for years will soon come to a close. Tonight, we're hearing from one victim's spouse.
WRAL's Destiny Patterson spoke with the fiance of one of the women who died. He told her he wants to watch Thompson face justice.
Mary Marshall, kind, loud, and beautiful inside and out, if you ask Robert Steele.
She was the example of the person that I wanted to be.
Police say Austin Thompson killed Steele's fiancée, Mary Marshall, and 4 others in October of 2022.
He took 5 people from their families. 6 if you count himself.
More than 3 years later, Thompson's attorneys notified the court of his plans to plead guilty to the murders.
Is this good news to you?
Of course it is. Of course it is. It saves a trial. It saves having to go through all the gory details.
The documents say Thompson has always accepted that he did this. He has decided he wishes to save the community and the victims from as much additional infliction of trauma as possible.
What do you think about that?
It's lawyer speak. He's not trying to spare anybody anything. He just wants to be done.
You don't believe that this...
No, not one bit. Has nothing to do with us. Has nothing to do with the community. That young man took the best person I had ever met away from me. I don't care why, but I want to look him in the face when he faces justice.
Thompson was 15 years old when the shooting happened. That takes the death penalty off the table.
Do you feel like you have gotten the closure that you needed to this point?
This will be the closure that I need. Watching him get sentenced and hopefully sent away for the rest of his life will be the closure that I need.
You know, your heart goes out to all of these families of the victims. This news comes after months of build-up to the trial. We've combed through dozens of documents in that time frame and got plenty of insight into how each legal team planned to tackle the case.
So let's take a second and look back at how we got here.
Thompson's original trial was scheduled for last year, but his defense attorneys were granted a motion to continue until this February because of a mountain of evidence. As the date grew closer, we got our first glimpse into how the defense planned to argue Austin Thompson's case. In October, his defense team filed a motion citing Thompson's diminished capacity and voluntary intoxication from prescription medication. They also filed a motion to block the prosecution from including statements that Thompson made while he was recovering from his self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. His lawyers argued his injuries prevented him from being in the right state of mind at the time. In December, we got a blitz of documents from both sides outlining procedural elements of the case. The defense filed a motion to have each prospective juror individually interviewed. They also wanted potential jurors to fill out questionnaires, answering questions about how much they knew about the case and the neighborhood. Legal experts tell us that's a common motion for a high-profile case. Prosecutors started to file motions outlining their plans, including a list of crime scene investigators and behavioral experts. They plan to argue that Thompson knowingly shot and killed the 5 victims and then acted in an aggravated manner to try avoiding arrest. They also expected to call an RPD employee to share forensic evidence like cell phone data and location services. That evidence became part of another defense motion. Thompson's legal team wanted the court to restrict evidence related to searches on his personal devices. They argued that Thompson searched mass shootings because he grew up in a climate where school shootings were commonplace. All of these motions were scheduled to be heard Wednesday and Thursday before his defense team filed a document Tuesday morning announcing his intent to plead guilty. And that's how we got here.
And the Wake County DA's office told us Thompson is due in court tomorrow starting at 2:30. We'll bring you minute-by-minute coverage from inside the courtroom.
Every day, a group of monks gets closer and closer to our area. They're drawing giant crowds with people from around the country. Today, we met someone who traveled to North Carolina all the way from Alaska. Yes, Alaska. Next, we'll give you an inside look on what life looks like on the trail. Plus, hear how winter weather could impact their travel.
All right, let's get you caught up on the 5 things you should know right now. A couple dozen gathered in downtown Raleigh tonight to protest ICE enforcement efforts around the country. It comes as President Donald Trump marks 1 year back in office. We've seen several similar protests around our area in recent weeks. A spokesman for the North Carolina Republican Party says the GOP is delivering common sense leadership. Raleigh police are getting new tools meant to cut down on chases. They're getting 20 trackers that they launch onto vehicles when pursuing a suspect. This way, rather than chase after them at high speeds, they can follow from a distance. The goal is to reduce the number of chases, which often lead to crashes and injuries. Drug maker Genentech is expanding its investment in the Triangle. This morning, the company announced it will add 100 more jobs at its Wake County facility. In March, Genentech unveiled plans to create a new manufacturing plant in Holly Springs by the end of 2030. Today's announcement brings that investment to $2 billion and more than 500 jobs. The North Hills skyline is changing in a big way. Today, the Raleigh City Council approved a zoning request that clears the way for giant towers there. Kane Realty will now build 4 towers around Six Forks and Lassiter Mill Roads. Those buildings could be as high as 37 stories. The developer says they'll be the tallest in all of Raleigh. Duke is suing their former quarterback, Darian Mensah, in hopes that he'll return to the Blue Devils program. Mensah entered the portal on the final day of last week, but the lawsuit says Mensah signed a multi-year contract with the university last July. Mensah announced that he'd returned to Duke last month before then ultimately hopping in the portal.
Like we've been telling you all day, we've got a chance for some serious winter weather this weekend. And it's coming as the Triangle prepares for a group of Buddhist monks to arrive. Talk about timing. They were in Greensboro today, and they're supposed to be arriving here this weekend by foot, some barefoot, in a winter storm. But so far, no amount of winter weather is deterring them from keeping on their 120-day, 2,300-mile journey. The Venerable Monks organizer tells me they will continue their path. They get asked about their footwear, or lack thereof, a lot. It's such a thing that they actually address it on their website. They say, we have all the necessary clothing, shoes, and safety gear that can be utilized whenever needed based on the weather and terrain. If you see some venerable monks not wearing shoes, please know it's because they choose not to wear them as part of their practice. It has been incredible to see the swell of enthusiasm around these monks. You know, the big picture itself is a monumental feat, right? Walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. But it's actually those little moments, the ones that, thanks to social media, we are able to feel throughout their journey. Like this one. Posted to their Walk for Peace Facebook page. Can we bring it up? By the way, that Facebook page has more than 1.8 million followers. This is the video I'm talking about. It's a woman in tears as a monk puts a peace bracelet around her wrist, a symbol of blessings and protection. These little moments are profoundly impacting people, and people from all over the world are watching this closely. I guess at the risk of touching into political territory, isn't it nice that something is happening in our country that is unifying, that people around the world are looking at with reverence and awe? And people aren't just watching this unfold from afar. They want to be a part of it. WRAL's Heidi Kirk has been with the monks and the many followers today. Heidi, you met someone from Alaska.
Ashley, you would not believe how many people I met from all across the country. I mean, the person from Alaska is just one story, but there were people from California, from Colorado, all coming here to North Carolina to experience the Walk for Peace. You know, that woman that I spoke with actually was lucky. She was given a flower by one of those monks. So, you know, she flew all this way right here to Greensboro to experience this moment. And then she was able to have one of those special moments that you talked about. But, you know, this is really one of the most remarkable things that I've ever covered. I mean, we waited for so long. We fought traffic. We found a spot along this route where we could set up our camera and really show you what this process looks like. And once we were set up, you know, there's so much chatter in the backdrop, people waiting, you know, having traveled so many miles to get here, having seen those moments on social media. And then, you know, you see the monks round the corner on their Walk for Peace, barefoot, some of them making their way all the way through the city of Greensboro and then, you know, going on to the Triangle. And it just feels like the air is really sucked out of the world in that moment. Everyone gets quiet. Everyone's eyes are on the monks. I had a special moment with several of them where they smiled at me. It was really just a wonderful moment. And I know that people from all across our state are excited about this. They've been watching through social media. And, you know, in the days to come, we're just going to continue to follow their journey and really bring you more of those special moments that we've been talking about today. Ashley.
Really looking forward to it. Thank you, Heidi. You know, one of the other big takeaways is how this is really transcending Buddhism, right? It's capturing the essence of spirituality, whether it's through Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, insert other religion here, or no religion at all. What I'm seeing is how this event is connecting people, honoring something bigger than ourselves. WRAL will be with you as you follow the monks along their way to the Triangle. Stay with WRAL both on air and online.
What a story, what a journey that they are taking. And when they get here, this weather is going to be something else. And I know a lot of people and families are trying to make some plans. What is this going to look like as we head into the weekend?
Your weekend will be disrupted. I know it's early. I know it's Tuesday and people are like, well, wait a minute. This is the textbook picture for a winter storm in North Carolina. We're just working to figure out if it's going to be more snow or sleet, freezing rain where you live. Either way, travel is going to be dangerous this weekend, especially late Saturday into Sunday. The exact arrival time of the precipitation, still a bit of a question mark Saturday, but you can expect to see impacts for at least part of the day. Travel impacts are likely. Will you be able to go sledding and build a snowman? As of right now, that's most likely north of I-40. Of course, we will adjust that in the coming days. Power outages are also possible. The highest threat of that is going to depend on exactly where the greatest corridor of icing will be possible. So here's what we're looking at for the upcoming weekend. Why are we already confident that this is going to be a big deal for the weekend? Well, high pressure is where it needs to be. Low pressure is where it needs to be. And with the two in place, the cold air is here before the moisture, and we've got a lot of moisture. The odds of an inch or more of snow when you take 50 runs of the European model ensembles, about 80% north of Raleigh, that chance going down to almost 0% as you get to Wilmington. So there's going to be a tight corridor here, and that's likely due to the introduction of some ice, and sleet or freezing rain would greatly reduce any snowfall totals. But the odds of 3 inches or more of snow are already looking pretty impressive. About a 60% chance in Raleigh, a 37% chance in Fayetteville, and an 80% chance in Boone. Meteorologist Mike Mays will have a new run of the European model ensembles tonight on WRAL News at 11. I encourage you to check in for an update. We're not ready to put out our own snowfall and ice totals maps, but we can use some probabilities in this forecast range. It's cold out there tonight, 17 in Cleveland, 13 in Minneapolis, 33 already in Raleigh. We're near freezing. Tonight, it's going to be even colder than last night. 17 potentially in Durham, 19 in Raleigh, 16 in Rocky Mount, 14 in Roxborough, 17 in Sanford, and 18 in Smithfield. Really cold tonight. We've got the clear skies, dry air, light winds. Those are the three things you need for some pretty chilly temperatures. At the bus stop tomorrow morning, make sure your kids are bundled up. A cold start tomorrow afternoon will be a little bit warmer than today, though. Highs should be back toward the upper 40s, maybe hitting 50 again. 60s on Thursday. And then Friday, we will have a chance for rain. As of right now, Friday doesn't look like a big winter weather impact day. We'll let you know if that changes. We're really focused in on Saturday and Sunday, but we're working on the timing for when things really deteriorate during the day on Saturday. I would go ahead and plan on hunkering down this weekend. If you can, go ahead and get your supplies and, just be prepared in this situation. Got to be honest with you guys. I still have to go get my supplies. I've been busy at work, so leave some for the rest of us, please.
Yeah, exactly, Kat. Okay, thank you. Hey, one last thing is next, and tonight it's a shout out to two of our own. Next, a WRAL love story that goes back a decade. One last thing tonight, and it's a bit of a forever thing. Every night we get to bring you the news and we get to be the faces, right, that you welcome into your homes or onto your phones and tablets.
But there are so many people that go into, of course, you know this, putting on a newscast like this that are integral to all the ways that we keep you informed. And one of them at the very, very top of that list is our producer, Miles. And over the weekend, we got to watch Miles get married and marry someone who you already know. So these are some pictures from Miles and WRAL anchor and reporter Grace Holland's wedding. Look at them.
They're so great.
The lovely couple. So Little Rose Photography was kind enough to send us over some of these early edits of some of their pictures. And Grace and Miles have been together for a decade. Grace's mom brought that up during the wedding, that it's been a while and it's about time, is what she said. It went back to their college days at the University of Georgia. The pictures just captured what a special and exciting day it was.
But listen, not all photos are that beautiful. We took some of our own pictures from that night. What a great time we had. Grace and Miles rocked the dance floor. They know how to throw a party now.
Well done. So Miles, Grace, they have some time off. Congratulations to the married couple. We love you. Don't hurry back too soon, but we'll need you here pretty soon, especially with this weather.
Yeah, no kidding. Have a great night.